I swear, Capcom is the gift that keeps on giving. There's 2 series specifically from Capcom, besides Resident Evil, of course, that I've wanted for years to make this huge, epic comeback. And it might be happening. That is Darkstalkers and Dino Crisis. If you're a little younger and you're not familiar with these series, because really they haven't had a new entry in forever. Dino Crisis is basically Resident Evil, old school Resident Evil with the tank controls and dinosaurs. Darkstalkers is a cartoony looking 2D fighter, so it's Street Fighter with monsters. These games were staples of the PS1/arcade era. They've each had a couple sequels, some updated games, some spin-offs and whatnot. Darkstalkers had 3 main games. You had Darkstalkers The Night Warriors, which is the first one. Then you had Darkstalkers 2, which was called Night Warriors Darkstalkers Revenge. Of course, these are the US titles. And Darkstalkers 3. And Dino Crisis had Dino Crisis. That's the first one. Then Dino Crisis 2, which some fans really didn't like that one. That was one of my favorite PS1 games. I loved it. Instead of survival horror like the first one, it was much more fast-paced action shooter. And Dino Crisis 3, which was divisive to say the least. I actually missed out on this one, so I'm hoping to play it sometime on stream. It was Xbox exclusive, and it was dinosaurs in space. It's weird. Rumors of their return have been going on for years, and now we're at this point where it's starting to become a little bit more than rumor, but still nothing official nonetheless. One of the latest rumors I heard is that Resident Evil ambassadors are getting emails asking them to playtest Dino Crisis Remake. These stories are complete BS. I'm a Resident Evil ambassador. I've got that email. All it really says is that in the future, they're going to be doing some early playtesting that you have to apply for. Doesn't say anything about Dino Crisis, nothing like that. So yeah, there is an email going around, but anything extra you hear about that, complete BS. Speculation and rumors. But why are there so many Dino Crisis rumors happening right now? Well, there's a reason for it. News came out that Capcom Japan filed a trademark for Dino Crisis and another one for Darkstalkers. So now there's a bunch of videos out there saying Dino Crisis remake confirmed. There's more to the story though, so let's take a deep dive here and examine this situation. And it wasn't just Dino Crisis and Darkstalkers. Capcom also filed trademarks for Mega Man, for Breath of Fire, Captain Commando, trademarks filed as game software. And other trademarks like Capcom Fighting Jam, Vulgus, and King of Dragons filed as possible mobile games. One very important thing to keep in mind is that companies file and refile for trademarks all the time. So filing these trademarks alone isn't really proof of anything. It just prevents other companies from coming along and using those trademarks. So this can either mean we're going to get a bunch of new games in these series, or it could be a big nothing burger and a kind of just in case scenario. And actually in December of last year, Capcom filed for a trademark for Dino Crisis also. So this isn't really anything new that they haven't done before. To get into specifics on the new trademark, it's been categorized under Class 9 Product Service, Game Program, and Others. And Darkstalkers have been categorized under Class 41 Product Service Provision of Online Games. What the hell does any of that mean, right? Translation. If all this means we're getting new games, what that basically means is that Darkstalkers could be an online game or some kind of digital-only product, while something like Dino Crisis could be a physical release, so it could be an arcade game, it could even be a pachinko machine. Doesn't necessarily mean we're getting Dino Crisis Remake. I do think we are getting a Dino Crisis Remake, and I do think we are getting Darkstalkers 4, and I do have some facts to kind of back up my thoughts here. Let me start off by talking about Darkstalkers, because there has been attempts to revive the series in the past, though it hasn't panned out. A couple years back, there were talks of the series returning after Street Fighter 4 popped up, and Capcom released Darkstalkers Resurrection as a sort of test to gauge interest on the series. It sold fairly well, and it was a compilation of Darkstalkers 2 and Darkstalkers 3 with added online play and some other features. But according to Capcom standards, it didn't sell well enough to be considered a commercial success, and they essentially took that as players don't care about new Darkstalkers. I can write a book about how flawed that logic is, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. Fast forward to now, and Capcom has released 10,000 versions of Street Fighter 4 and is still adding on to Street Fighter 5. Great games, but I think it's a great time to try something else now instead of moving on to a possible Street Fighter 6 in the future. If we do get a Darkstalkers 4, I really hope it's not exclusive to a specific console. I understand why Capcom did it for Street Fighter 5. They were essentially going broke at the time. That's not the case anymore, so it doesn't need to be exclusive to one console. And I'm also hoping it doesn't get released like Street Fighter 5, where we essentially got a beta with very little content at the very beginning. Just give me a completed game at release with a full story mode and character endings and whatnot. Capcom is at that level now where they can absolutely do that. Here's the main reason, though, that I think we're getting Dino Crisis Remake and another Darkstalkers, and this really comes from Capcom themselves. This year, Capcom released a company report, which if you take a couple seconds and do some research, it's publicly available and you can actually read it online. In the report, they talk about the success of recent titles like Street Fighter V and Resident Evil 2 Remake. They talk about Devil May Cry 5, Mega Man 11. But here's the important part that I'm getting at. On page 20 of the report, under the section labeled Growth Strategy, under the subsection New Titles, bullet point number 2, promote utilization of dormant IPs and remakes. Darkstalkers and Dino Crisis would both be considered dormant IPs. For those that don't know what that means, that's basically a franchise that's been out of the public eye for a while, a brand that they haven't really been using. And remakes is plural, so Capcom is planning more remakes for sure. We saw proof of this after Resident Evil 2 Remake did so well, and now confirmed we have Resident Evil 3 Remake. Dino Crisis is getting a remake, and Darkstalkers is getting a sequel. At this point, it's only a matter of when that happens, not if. It might be a while, I don't know, but it's gonna happen. If you take this report this released, if you take the trademarks getting renewed altogether, you don't even really have to read between the lines or have any inside information. This is happening. And Capcom's response in the past when fans have asked if we're getting a Dino Crisis remake ever, I think this was back from 2017, is word for word, if a lot of people wish. Well, a lot of people wish. I'll keep an eye out for more news on this. Once we get official updates, you guys, of course, will hear from me. But let's go ahead and get the conversation started below. What Capcom series do you want to see make a comeback? And what do you think about this? Is it all a big nothing burger, or are we sure as hell getting these games? I'll catch you guys later. Since you made it to the end of this video, I assume you enjoyed it, so why don't you go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any new content. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, links in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can join my Patreon or become a channel member. This is Fabian, I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.